Welcome to our immigration briefing program. Today, we dive into some pressing immigration stories making headlines. First up, despite a Supreme Court ruling, the Trump administration is under fire for not repatriating Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a Maryland man mistakenly deported to El Salvador. His situation raises serious concerns about the government's compliance with the law and the safety of deported individuals. In another story, federal border czar Thomas D. Homan is addressing misinformation surrounding a recent ICE operation in Sackets Harbor, where a family was detained. Homan clarifies that he played no role in the operation and emphasizes the need for accurate information in the face of public protests and concerns about the treatment of immigrant families. Lastly, the immigration landscape is shifting as several international students across the U.S., including those at Ohio State University and Johns Hopkins, have faced sudden visa revocations. This trend highlights the ongoing challenges and uncertainties that international students encounter in the current immigration climate. Please stay tuned for more detailed coverage on these important issues. The Toronto Star reports on the ongoing legal battle surrounding Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a Maryland man mistakenly deported to El Salvador. Despite a Supreme Court ruling mandating his return, the Trump administration has remained tight-lipped, failing to provide a clear plan for his repatriation. Judge Paula Zines, who is overseeing the case, expressed frustration during a recent hearing, demanding to know Abrego Garcia's whereabouts and the government's actions to facilitate his return. Abrego Garcia, who had lived in the U.S. for 14 years and has 3 children with disabilities, was deported under controversial circumstances, with the government labeling him as a member of the MS-13 gang, a claim he vehemently disputes. The case has raised significant questions about the administration's adherence to judicial orders and its broader immigration policies. Yahoo US highlights comments from Thomas D. Homan, the federal border czar, who sought to clarify misinformation regarding immigration detentions in Sackets Harbor. Homan emphasized that he had no prior knowledge of a specific operation that led to the detention of a woman and her children, asserting that law enforcement acted within the bounds of a federal warrant related to child pornography investigations. He defended the actions of Border Patrol and ICE, stating that their operations are driven by public safety and national security concerns. Homan also addressed community backlash, asserting that the decision to release the detained family was made independently by ICE, not influenced by public protests. He reiterated the importance of following lawful immigration processes and expressed his commitment to protecting children from trafficking. Yahoo US further details the Trump administration's stance on the legal obligations regarding the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. The Justice Department has argued that the Supreme Court ruling does not compel them to actively engage with El Salvador for his repatriation. They maintain that their duty is limited to adjusting his immigration status if he is released by Salvadoran authorities. This interpretation raises concerns about the administration's willingness to comply with judicial orders, as they continue to provide minimal updates to the court. The administration's resistance to disclosing details about the deportation arrangement has also sparked debates about transparency and the separation of powers, especially in light of ongoing diplomatic relations with El Salvador. As the situation unfolds, the upcoming court hearing promises to further scrutinize the administration's actions and its implications for immigration policy. Nikkei Asia reports on the shifting dynamics between U.S. allies and their technology dependencies, particularly in light of recent actions taken by the U.S. government that have raised concerns about coercive leverage. The article highlights an incident where the satellite company Maxar cut off Ukraine's access to imagery due to U.S. government decisions, serving as a wake-up call for allies to reassess their reliance on American technology. It argues that while allies have been focused on reducing dependence on China, they must now also consider the risks of being tied to a transactional U.S. that may prioritize its own interests over those of its partners. The piece emphasizes the need for countries to minimize reliance on both tech superpowers and to collaborate on developing independent technological capabilities to ensure strategic autonomy. The Sydney Morning Herald discusses the changing landscape of visa-free travel for Australians, noting that what was once a golden age of easy access is now giving way to stricter entry requirements. The Henley Passport Index ranks the Australian passport highly, allowing entry to 186 countries without a visa, but many of these countries are now introducing visa waivers. For instance, Australians will soon need to apply for an Electronic Travel Authorization (ETA) to enter the UK and a European Travel Information and Authorization System (ETIAS) visa waiver for most European countries. While the application process for these waivers is simpler than traditional visas, the shift reflects a growing trend of countries wanting to monitor visitors more closely. The article also warns of potential scams related to e-visas, advising travelers to apply through official government websites. South China Morning Post reports on Bangladesh's decision to reintroduce the phrase, "Accept Israel," on its passports, effectively barring citizens from traveling to Israel. This move comes amid heightened tensions following the recent Gaza conflict, which has sparked widespread solidarity demonstrations in Bangladesh for the Palestinian cause. The phrase had been removed during the previous administration of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, but with her ousting, the new government has reinstated it, reaffirming Bangladesh's long-standing position of non-recognition of Israel. The article underscores the sensitive nature of the Israel-Palestine issue in Bangladesh, illustrating how international conflicts can directly impact national policies and citizens' travel rights. Yahoo US reports that the revocation of F-1 visas for at least 7 Ohio State University students has raised significant concerns among the university community. University President Walter Ted Carter Jr. expressed that the institution had not received formal notification from the federal government regarding these actions or the reasons behind them. Despite this, the university has reached out to the affected students to provide support and resources. Carter emphasized Ohio State's commitment to welcoming international students, stating that their presence enriches the campus and community. Meanwhile, U.S. Senator Bernie Moreno acknowledged the situation but expressed confidence in the Department of Homeland Security, urging the university to communicate any concerns directly to him for further investigation. In a separate incident highlighted by CBC, Montreal artist Bells Larson has cancelled his U.S. tour due to discriminatory visa policies that adversely affect transgender individuals. Larson shared that a recent directive from the U.S. State Department mandates that visa applications must reflect an applicant's sex at birth, which poses a barrier for transgender artists like himself. This policy change has led Larson to abandon 6 planned tour dates in the U.S., leaving him heartbroken as it directly impacts his aspirations and connections within the music industry. Despite the setback, he has received support from fellow Canadian artists and remains focused on his upcoming shows in Canada, expressing empathy for queer and trans individuals affected by similar policies in the U.S. Yahoo US has also reported that the Johns Hopkins University is facing a similar crisis, with several dozen international students and recent graduates having their visas revoked under new federal immigration policies. The university has acknowledged the anxiety this situation has caused within its community and is working directly with the affected individuals. While the specific reasons for the visa revocations remain unclear, there is speculation that they may be linked to students' involvement in pro-Palestinian activism. Johns Hopkins is providing support services to help those affected navigate the challenges posed by the visa terminations, emphasizing their commitment to the well-being of their students during this tumultuous time. The Sydney Morning Herald reports on a disturbing protest outside the office of Coalition Senator James Patterson in Melbourne, where a group of masked neo-Nazis gathered, chanting racist slogans and denouncing both major political parties as traitors to the white race. Patterson, known for his strong stance against anti-Semitism, dismissed the protesters as cosplaying losers and expressed his determination to protect Australians from extremists. The protest comes amid rising concerns about threats against politicians, with the Australian Federal Police noting a doubling of such threats in the past 3 years. The atmosphere of intimidation was further highlighted by recent incidents involving threats against Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke, indicating a worrying trend of political violence and extremism. The Independent shares a personal account of the chaos surrounding British passport renewals, particularly in light of new EU travel rules post-Brexit. The author recounts the stress of having their passport and their children's passports stuck in a broken safe, leading to a costly locksmith intervention just as passport fees are set to rise significantly. A friend's experience at the airport underscores the confusion surrounding the new regulations, resulting in a missed holiday and frantic last-minute passport renewal. This narrative captures the broader frustrations faced by British travelers grappling with stringent passport requirements and the potential for holiday plans to be derailed by bureaucratic missteps, illustrating a growing sense of anxiety about international travel in a post-Brexit landscape. CBC highlights the competitive political landscape in the Chateauguay-les Jardins de Napierville riding, where Bloc Québécois candidate Patrick O'Hara is determined to reclaim a seat he narrowly lost in the previous election. With a fresh Liberal candidate, Natalie Provost, stepping up to challenge him, the race is heating up as both candidates focus on local issues and the economic uncertainties stemming from U.S. trade policies. O'Hara reflects on his past campaign experience, using it as motivation to engage with voters more effectively, while Provost emphasizes her advocacy background and commitment to gun control. As the election approaches, local residents express their desire for clear plans addressing pressing issues like immigration and economic stability, underscoring the importance of every vote in a riding decided by just 12 ballots last time. The Toronto Star reports on Hungary's impending vote on a constitutional amendment that critics argue is a direct assault on LGBTQ+ rights and freedoms of assembly and expression. The ruling Fidesz party, led by Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, is expected to pass this amendment, which would permanently ban public events like Budapest Pride, effectively silencing LGBTQ+ voices in the country. This legislation, framed as child protection, allows authorities to impose severe penalties on those attending such events and denies recognition of gender identities, marking a significant regression in human rights. The backlash has been fierce, with thousands protesting against the amendment, denouncing it as a fascist move that threatens the very fabric of democratic rights in Hungary. Nikkei Asia highlights the transformation of Japan's hot spring resorts due to an influx of Chinese tourists and investors, marking a shift from the past when these locations catered primarily to local Japanese clientele. The Isawa Hot Spring Resort, once a haven for weary salarymen, is now bustling with Chinese visitors, driven by significant investments from Chinese capitalists who have acquired numerous hotels in the area. This trend is reshaping Japan's tourism landscape, as Chinese investors see opportunities in the relatively lower property prices and the ability to own land, unlike in China. While some locals express concern over the changing character of their towns, others welcome the economic revitalization brought by this new wave of tourism. South China Morning Post reports on a significant labor trafficking case in Georgia, where law enforcement uncovered horrific conditions at Well-Made Industries, a flooring manufacturer. Authorities rescued 60 Chinese nationals who were subjected to forced labor, with their travel documents confiscated and forced to work grueling 12-hour shifts under dire conditions. The owner and his associates face serious felony charges, highlighting a troubling pattern of exploitation of immigrant workers in the U.S., particularly among those on temporary visas. Advocates stress the need for reforms to protect vulnerable workers and ensure they can enforce their rights, as officials work to provide avenues for trafficking victims to remain in the U.S. without fear of deportation. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.
When lights dim, voices loud, headlines flashing wild, world in a frame and now, stories told, it's time to plow. Eyes glued, truth pursued, understanding woven through, heartbeats race breaking through, knowledge spreads the new view. Breaking the news, breaking the day, truth and insight our way. Every story, every play. Live Breaking the news, breaking the day, truth and insight our way. Every story, every play, living clear we convey. Every story, every play, and clear we convey. Depths revealed, voices bright, news in focus, black and white. Every angle sheds some light, morning, evening, through the night.